we're live now.
Awesome. Okay. Live on Facebook. Yay!
Okay, I gotta find you guys.
It's like a week. In a week, we will be there.
I know, it's fantastic.
Right? Or at least most of us will be there.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Shoot, I can't find it. Oh, there. No, I see your thing from yesterday. Okay.
And somebody's got it feeding back.
It's like a week. All right, we are live. We will be there.
I know, I hear somebody playing it.
Right?
It's like it's echoing us.
Yeah, you gotta turn off one of them.
Yeah, I'm watching.
I've got it.
Okay.
I can't find it. Oh, there. No, I see your thing from yesterday. Okay.
Mute it. Mine is definitely
Got it feeding back.
It's like a week. All right, we are live.
I think it's funny watching all the technology just catch up with us.
Is it on there?
Yeah, you gotta turn off one of them.
Yeah, you got to turn it off.
Yep. So we can't watch it and be live. So
Are you watching it on Facebook?
Turn down Facebook.
yes, turn down Facebook.
Zoom
That
is
way-
the one you want to be on, I think.
I'm off Facebook.
Okay, cool. That was really
All right,
funny.
I think we're good.
The echoing of us.
Well, technically,
Who killed Andrew? Where is he?
Who can oh no.
What did he
Maybe-
do now?
so yeah, Andrew.
Maybe he's getting coffee cup number twosies. Like I had to do this morning.
Okay, I
have
can
water.
handle
Yeah,
you
I have
guys. Too many
So-
screwdrivers?
We had our screwdrivers yesterday. I do not have
Yeah.
a screwdriver this morning. So,
I think we should be having a gin and tonic.
Uh-oh,
Right now.
I just went black.
It's 4 o'clock in London, so that's probably what several people are having. Gin and
Okay, so they're cheersing us with their gin and tonics.
Yeah, probably sitting in a pub drinking warm beer. Isn't that what they do there?
maybe they're having a pint.
Or wine. Wine's kind of a thing.
I think drinking in general is going to be a thing there.
Oh yeah, drinking in general is just always a thing.
Gone are the days of the endless wandering through the city where QuickBooks Connect is looking for a bar that's open. I'm told we're not going to have a problem there.
Not gonna have a problem finding a bar that's open.
Andrew will get it. We're usually in tow, one or the other. With several people straggling behind us.
So how about our hats? Everybody's wearing their gray QuickBooks hats.
We've got our fedoras on. I think
We totally do.
I love this hat. When I saw it sitting on my bed in my room in San Jose, I looked at it and went, "What the heck?" And then I put it on. Hats fit me weird. And if they don't fit, I get a headache. And I went, "Oh my God, do I have to wear this thing?" And then I loved it. Now I just want to wear it at every conference I ever go to, I think.
Well, it looks good on you.
Well, thank you.
When you and Andrew are at the conferences, you can always find you because you guys look like brothers, right?
Well, in San Jose, we wore them religiously. Like the first day I showed up and I had mine in my pack, I wasn't sure what I'd do with it. And then I saw Andrew coming up an escalator and I said, okay, I'm wearing mine. And that's where it stuck. But of course we had Lilette and we had Diane Lucas also up there with us. And the hat really became a thing. I mean, all those photos from San Jose
Yep.
where we're sitting with Brad or we're sitting with Cezanne, the hat's front and center. So, you know,
Yeah, it is.
now try and take it away. It's kind of a trademark. And I think it's going to be, I think you'll see more and more of them show up because our lovely friend Mindy King has been distributing them throughout the community. So I think next year's QuickBooks Connect, there'll be a staple there.
So
Yeah. Mindy's awesome.
Mindy's the
good to
best.
all of us.
My favorite. All my I always go looking for her when I first get to San Jose because it feels like home when I see Mindy. You know, she works so hard, but she's like, I don't know, what was that show with Adam Sandler where he had the butler that always just showed up? It was always in the background, but he always got what you needed. Forget his name. Anyways, that's what Mindy does. She works her butt off, but she's always working in the background, making sure everything's going all right. For the longest
She
time,
knows us all. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how
totally.
she does that.
social media, and that was the first time I met her. You know, I think of how many times I've responded to the @Intuit accountant's Twitter
Yes.
handle, and she signs it Mindy, so I knew who she was, and I knew I
Yep.
liked her before I even met her. And then when she introduced me, introduced herself to me in San Jose in 2015. She just said, Brad, it's Mindy. And right away, the bond was there. And she's
Yeah.
one of my favorite. Her and Allison and Kim. I mean, those guys they work so hard. And Shauna's another one. They work tirelessly behind the scenes, right?
You know, and
I
I
agree.
think that I met Mindy much of the same way. It could have been Scaling New Heights back in probably 2013 or 14. And I think Mindy had tweeted me and said, come by the Intuit booth. I want to meet you. Because we had been interacting on Twitter and Facebook. And so I had gone down and that's how we met. So in person. So yeah, she's lovely.
That's the exact same thing that she did with me, Heather. She said, hey, come over here. I'm hanging out in the Intuit booth.
Right.
I was like,
I think
she's real life.
I think it was something like that with me too. She definitely reached out through Twitter and said, hey, let's meet. And there she was, you know, she picked a spot like right around the corner. I think she saw me.
I don't know how
there.
she makes everybody feel like they're her best friend.
Yeah, well, that's Intuit. That's their brand. That's why we're all nutty and do these silly things. I mean, let's boil it down. This is accounting software that we support. Whoop-de-doo, right? They've made it fun. And they've created this great community, and that's how we all know each other. And that's how, you know, we're going to make new friends across the pond because of it. And it's the community side that just makes it so great. And they just hire those people that make us feel special.
They
yeah.
do.
You know, that's one of the things I'm so excited about, you know, going to London. You know, Liz and I made the visit to Toronto in December, where we really made so many great friends and got to solidify friendships that we had made in San Jose, with you, Brad, and Andrew. And
Absolutely.
Sarah. And so I am just so excited to, you know, both meet new pro advisors, developers, Intuit staff that are all over in the UK, and to kind of solidify some of those that we've made over here already. So I feel like, you know, Intuit's mission, right, is to power prosperity.
Absolutely. It sounds cliche, but it's true, right?
Right. And so
I shouldn't say it sounds cliche, because it actually sounds really cool. I like that hashtag and that campaign, but it is true. They come up with those. Their marketing team's brilliant.
They are. They're very good.
It's amazing how they just take this brand. And I remember I saw a marketing guy speaking here in Calgary, and he was talking about branding and marketing. And he said, what Apple does so well, whether you love them or hate them, but the people that love them, when they look at the Apple logo, they've measured this before scientifically. There's an emotion that's elicited that resembles love, the endorphins and all the stuff that kicks it in your brain, the admiration. And that's what the QuickBooks brand is kind of to me. It sounds cheesy as heck, but it's true. I mean, I love the brand. You couldn't unseat me from it. You know, when other companies have tried to say, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It's like, no way. I've hitched myself to the right horse, and I'm there through thick and thin.
So that's exactly why I feel like each time that we go to a new Connect and see other people, how they're doing it, I kind of do this. It goes, oh, whoosh. Yes. And I see there's new ways and there's new ideas, and you get used to, you know, the US is a big pond. Canada's a big pond, but I mean, the more that
the world.
Yeah. I mean, the more that you're seeing the possibilities, and
yes,
you know, it's an interesting change in the way that the software is in different areas as well. So, so the tax piece is different in the US and Canada, and you know, it's just going to be really interesting to see some of the tax classes in London. So.
It is. You know, what I would say is, you know, when I started with QuickBooks way back in the mid 90s, right? I started working with QuickBooks for the Mac. That was my first, right out of the gate. I was
QuickBooks for Mac.
We don't even have that here. We never got that in Canada.
Well, I had QuickBooks for Mac, and then my mom ended up hiring me to work for her. And you know, a lot of people know my story. And then I got certified, and I had to make the leap over to Windows, which was fine. But what's interesting is that we were regional, right? So when I started as a pro advisor, it was very regional. It was in the town that I lived in. It was for surrounding towns. And what's happened over, you know, just the last 10 years with QuickBooks Online, you know, really gaining ground, is that I've seen my own client base expand beyond not only my town, but my state. And now with, the new, we've expanded our reach as far as in the US, but now I have clients in Canada. I have a client that I'm actually, or a prospect that I'm working with in the UK. So, I've had clients reach out to me from Australia, in Africa. And so what's happened with, cloud accounting and QuickBooks Online and Intuit is they've really broken down those geographical barriers for us. And we're able to participate in a global market, which we weren't able to do before.
I agree. And, Heather and I have talked about where a lot of our referrals come from. And so, Brad, I wonder if it's this way for you too. About 50 to 75% of my referrals are coming from other pro advisors who are saying, hey, I know you do this, and so I'm going to send them to you. I mean, are you finding that to be true, that you're getting a lot of clients through or referrals through other pro advisors?
Well, yes and no. It's more of an indirect thing, because unlike most pro advisors out there that also happen to be CPAs, is that I don't touch any of the stuff that all those people do. I don't do year ends. I don't do taxes, and I don't do bookkeeping. So I come at it from a different angle. I'm focusing on process and the software. I worked, in companies running business, helping run businesses. And that's kind of my background. So I do get people definitely saying, oh, I know the perfect person for that. But
Yep.
What's really helped me is just being that QuickBooks guy. I'm easy to find. Calgary's a city of 1.3 million. And because I'm so active on social, I'm so active with the brand, I'm connected with the brand, and I don't pay for fancy SEO. My website is 4 years old. I put it together, but I get hits, and I attribute it to being part of this larger community, because Google is clued in that I'm an authority figure in the area. So I do get the odd referral, but most of my referrals are organic, and they're generated almost locally, but I'm getting more and more people reaching out from other provinces. I don't really want to do US because there's some complications there. I don't really want to dabble with currencies and that.
Right.
But I would consider it, down the road. I mean, I had to deal with my first US dollar transaction recently when T-Sheet sent me a commission. I forgot I was even getting one. And it took me forever to actually get it because of all the paperwork involved with moving money to a foreign person outside of the United States. But then it came, and I used Forex really for the first time in QBO. But you never know. I've had people approach me in my community about a lot of different things that do transcend my city. Mastermind sort of opportunities and potential collaborative efforts and projects. There's no reason why I couldn't help someone from anywhere. I'll worry about that later, though. I just want to tackle my local market, which has been pretty vibrant. And once again, it all comes back to just being part of the community, running a Facebook group that's, focused on our community. That's all helped. And I just like the people, right?
I do too. I like the people. Yeah. I like the culture of sharing and being open with each other. Yes. And the thing that I always feel and walk away after any type of engagement with people in my community is I learn something from them. And so one of the things that inside of our firm that we've done is we've incorporated how to price things out and how to work with contractors, bookkeeping contractors, and what that engagement looks like and who gets which piece. And so being able to share those monies throughout the different people who touch it, that came from sitting at a table talking about working with contracted bookkeepers and how to pay them.
It's Michael Lee. You guys must all follow him. His business is fascinating. I mean, he's based in Vermont, the thriving metropolis of Burlington, Vermont. But he's got employees and clients all over the place. It's really cool to see how he's built that, and they're all virtual. I mean, our community is what we make of it, and our business is what we make of it. And there's tremendous opportunity to do things with people. And
I agree.
Look what we're doing right now.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
Oklahoma and Rhode Island and Calgary, and we seem to have lost the Ontario people. Maybe they had another snowstorm. I don't know.
well, but Sarah created this
Again, so
PDF, and she's not here to share it, but I want to share it because this is pretty cool what she created.
it is amazing. So I'm going to promote you, Sarah, again.
Okay.
Yeah, she made. Hey, there's Warren.
Is she with us? Is Sarah with us? Oh, there she is. Okay, cool. I'm glad she's joining us. So maybe she can unmute her mic.
It says we have 5 participants. Is Andrew here?
So Ernest Cook and he's actually from my area. Hi, Ernest. He actually has a practice down on the Cape Cod with his wife.
Okay, can you hear me?
And so I can talk to a panelist if you'd like, but so thank you for joining. But they have their practice is actually based on integration, kind of like my practice, and they focus on point of sale, and I think they're reseller as well. Well, I know they're a reseller. So they do a lot with QuickBooks Enterprise, QuickBooks Point of Sale, and integration and custom systems. So hi, Ernest. Welcome. Nice to see you. And please tell Susan. Susan is Ernest's partner and wife. So please tell her I said hi.
So Sarah, I'm glad that you're joining us because I was getting ready to show the PDF and kind of go through it, but I'm like thrilled that you're here because I love what you created. So it's like where you're going to be going and who you're going to be listening to. And so you made some notes about the speakers as well.
Well, I just cut and pasted it from the QB London, settings page, but everything was all over the place. So I just put it all together by session, and I put their picture so we could, if we run into them, we'll know who they are.
That's right. We know you.
Yeah, you're on that handout.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm actually going to post the link to the Zoom room in case people want to join us here. I'm going to put that on our Facebook page. We have quite a few people that are joining us through Facebook Live, and if they want to be able to jump in and join the conversation, that would be fantastic. So,
that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So I just posted that in the Facebook Live. If you want to join the Zoom room, please feel free to come on in.
Awesome. So I see Mark's going to be there. So you're going to be listening to Mark.
And for once, he won't sound funny. He'll just blend right in.
He'll fit in.
Yeah, that accent.
And I just hi, Ernest. Now we can.
Oh,
I unmuted you, so now we
go.
Hear you. So welcome.
Thanks. I was like, hey, there's a nice shout out, but I don't think they can hear me.
I couldn't hear you, no. So now we can hear you. We're all good. Welcome. I'm so glad you could join us. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in hearing all about QuickBooks Connect London. So.
Awesome.
Well, Sarah, we're going through Sarah's PDF that she put together of who she's going to be listening to. And I love it, Sarah. You've got half of this is classes for accountants, and the other half is just classes for small businesses owners.
Yeah.
Which, I do the same thing. So we're looking at your cheat sheet of what you're going to be doing, but
that's the whole conference. That's the whole conference. So you can pick and choose the ones that are happening.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, Linda.
Muted.
I saw Matthew's on Facebook, so.
Oh yeah, there he is. Hey, Matthew.
Yeah, he's on that side. So y'all are on the Zoom side, and there's people on the Facebook side that are watching.
Right.
So. Liz, say that again. I like y'all.
Y'all.
I like that. Do that a lot in the UK. They'll love that.
Y'all. Well.
Oh, they love picking on little idiosyncrasies, and then they'll remind you that they speak English, and we're just borrowing it. It's
right.
Fun.
Well, So I have a cousin, and he does not live in Oklahoma, and so whenever I was visiting him, I was talking to him about my tarantula. And he was like, whoa. You need my tarantula. He said,
tarantula.
Okay. Yeah, we need to fix that. So I have a tarantula.
No. Keep it. It's great.
And I also say, I've had to fix this one too. Orange, which is
Hey,
not.
be careful. Is that orange you just said?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we go to Receipt Bank,
Yeah.
you should talk that way. Oh, it's so orange in here. However you
Yeah,
said
no.
it.
So I have to sometimes be careful, but y'all, I miss that one. Everybody says y'all where I'm at.
We're going to have a lot of new faces at QuickBooks Connect with the main stage speakers and the session breakout speakers. We will have some familiar faces to us.
There's a handful. There's Will. Hey, Will, still head picture there. He's a great guy. I met him in San Jose this year.
Well, it looks like Sarah was having a hard time picking because it looks like this isn't a panel, is it?
Some of the sessions have more than one speaker.
That's a panel.
This is a panel. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So that'll be a good one to go to. Here's another panel.
Yeah,
using the golden circle. I can't wait to go to this one. I'm really excited about this idea of using the golden circle to determine best apps for business.
Yes, I figured you guys would be there. That's very Appy. I'm going to that one.
It's apptastic.
Apptastic.
I don't know why that went sideways.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's probably me at 4 a.m.
So, but we do know, so some of the familiar faces is we'll have Arish will be there, right?
Yes.
Kim Emsba will be there. Allison Ball will
Allison.
be there.
Allison Ball is
Mark
legendary.
Wickersham.
Yeah.
Who else am I forgetting? Oh, I'm not forgetting anyone.
Oh, Matthew, you joined us and you've got one of those really cool green screens too.
Yeah. It's Tanya.
Hey, Tanya.
Hey, Tanya. How's it going?
Hey, everybody. Good. I only have like 7 minutes left before my next call, but I was so glad you posted the Zoom link because my Facebook Live, it was, I don't know, it was like a DJ like doing a spin. I could just hear like half of words and I'm like, oh my God. And as soon as I saw the Zoom, I'm like, great, I can actually hear a full sentence.
Yay! I'm glad you're here. So are you going to be joining us, Tanya, in London?
I would have loved to. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough time to be able to work it around. And it's actually on my birthday too. Sarah really tried to talk me into it, but
which day is your birthday, Tanya?
The 27th.
Well,
that's when we're at Receipt Bank. We'll have an orange.
Have tons of drinks for me, and then you guys can have the hangover for me too.
Hey, this one's for Tanya.
We're taking it for the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would have loved to. I think next year is what I'd like to do next year, either Australia or London or.
I'd like to look at Australia for 2020. That'd be the Grand Slam.
It's not the
also. Those who don't know, Tanya is the Firm of the Future winner, and so you're
World
allowed to
champion.
be busy here.
Well,
He's a star.
I didn't want to take away from Peter being in the spotlight, being the UK winner this year too, right? So there we go.
I'm looking forward to seeing Peter again. He's a great guy. I chatted with him several times in San Jose. He's amazing.
He's awesome. Give him a big hug for me.
I will.
He actually reached out and he is looking at.
Did it tickle?
Go ahead, tickle him too.
No, I said he reached. Sorry, I was just playing around.
That's okay.
He is that kind of guy. He's super friendly and very outgoing.
Yeah, no, he's actually starting something similar to the boot camp program in the UK, which I just think was amazing.
We were just talking about how people from all over the world in our community collaborate in those ways. And, you know, he knows who to talk to if he has any questions, right?
Absolutely.
Co-opetition.
I gave him my full blessing. I'm like, go for it. I'll reach out for anything. So absolutely. He already does something similar. And I told him I was really, that they should have put more focus on that in his video, but he actually takes new graduate accounting students, brings them on for 1 to 2 years, knowing they're going to leave him. So, but he invests the time just because he believes so much in it. I'm like, Peter, why wasn't that more relevant? Because I think that's awesome.
What is Peter's last name?
Peter Jarman.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a big topic in our industry is how much do you invest in your health? Because we do know that we are a culture that you end up not staying, and a lot of people end up going to work for themselves. And so, it's kind of do you do it? Do you not do it? So I love that mentality of, yes, of course you do it, because there's going to be some people who stay, and there's plenty of work for everybody. So of course you want to have
Andrew
all of the
alert.
small businesses.
Andrew alert.
Oh,
Sorry to
did he
interrupt,
join
but
us?
no,
Real quickly,
he's
Brad.
asking me if it's still happening.
Hey, Brad, what was that word I heard you say? Co-opetition or what?
Yeah, that came up at one of the connects. Tanya, was that San Jose or was that Toronto, where co-opetition was the term?
No, I think it was San Jose. I think
Yeah.
it was San Jose.
Main stage. It's all about, we all compete in many ways. If I decide I want to become a Zapier king, I could take Heather's classes, learn everything from her, and compete. But it doesn't really work that way.
Her, but I don't first, but
What's that?
I said you'd have to dethrone her first, but
but I mean, anything's possible. But I'm just saying, we're all competitors. That's the point in many ways.
But there's so much work out there that I don't ever feel like we're stepping on each other's toes. Like I never feel that way. I feel more of, if I've got a question and I'm stuck on something, I can reach out to a peer and I can say, okay, how did you work around this?
It's rising tide. I don't know if the rising tide raises all boats.
Yep.
It's what they call an abundance mindset. There's enough to go around. Right. People that use a scarcity mindset use the fear factor to get things. They try and build barriers and protect their markets and things like that. It doesn't work. A good example here in Calgary is the beer market, the microbrewers. They all work together. Anyone who's been to, well, you guys saw Graham Sherman in Toronto. That's what he's done. He works with the competitors to further the industry, and everyone benefits. And that's kind of what we do.
When I talk about the microbrewers in Canada, when I was leaving the last day, I stayed a little bit extra, and I went inside of I think it was called the Steam Brewery.
Yes, Steam Whistle.
Yeah, Steam Whistle. That's it.
Yeah,
okay,
they had a Connect event. Sorry to interrupt, Liz. They had a Connect event there last year.
Awesome place.
Everyone who knows Jason Hastings, his band performed there as part of the event, and that's where we started. A bunch of us have a tequila tradition at QuickBooks events. That's where it started.
Talk about that.
They wouldn't sell us shots of tequila. They said they have to serve them in a glass. We said yes, please, and we were all walking around with glasses of tequila and watching one of our friends, and he's a rock star, a country star. He actually records in Nashville. So he was accomplished. It was great. And of course, he's a CPA and a pro advisor. So the tie-in was amazing. And it was at the Steam Whistle.
Phenomenal.
Sorry to interrupt, Liz. I like that place. Fond memories.
Well, I didn't know any of that. So I'm glad you shared, because I ended up getting several little trinkets from there because I loved it. And they were talking about the local breweries. And here in Oklahoma, we also support a lot of the local breweries, and they'll come together in the Bricktown Brewery, and they all will share their local batches, and then you just try them. So you walk around with a little cup and you try as much as you want to of all of them.
Those are dangerous. It's like wine tours.
I know, it's so much fun.
Are you guys doing anything in London besides the conference? You're going to have some fun while you're there, because it's a long way.
Well, I mean, the conference itself is going to be a lot of fun, Linda. And we're also doing the hackathon, which will be super fun. So,
yes, I'm doing that too.
I can't wait for the hackathon. I'm totally jazzed for the hackathon.
Me too. There's so much brain power going on there, and innovation and collaboration, which we were just talking about. I mean, it's such a great event. So
it is.
Andrew doesn't know the link.
Tell him to look at the Facebook message.
I did.
Okay, I'll post it again for him.
All right. I have to go, everybody. Nice chatting.
Nice chatting.
I look forward to watching your travels and your posts from London. Have fun.
And I'll hug those people for you, promise.
Sounds good.
Bye, Tanya.
So the hackathon, have they set a theme for it already? Like what they're going after this time?
I haven't heard anything about that yet, about who what the tools will be. So at every hackathon, in case people aren't aware, is that every hackathon, they have certain app tool app developer or app tools come in, and they encourage the hackers to utilize these tools in the hacks that they're building. So I'm trying to think of the ones that were in San Jose, and I think we had. I know in Toronto it was Method. Method was one of the tools. In San Jose there was T-sheets. They were encouraging people to build hacks with T-sheets. And oh gosh, I have to look up. I'll have to look up who the tools were. They're not coming to my brain right now. But it was pretty amazing. So they're encouraged to build the hacks with QuickBooks Online, T-sheets, and then these other tools that come in. Box was one of them. That's right. Box was one of them.
Yeah.
Do they announce it this early what the integration pieces are? Because part of it is how do you adapt?
So the idea is right. The idea is at the hackathon that you build it from there. So you come in and you actually build your hack during the 48 hours or 36 hours, I think is what they get, they can work overnight, is to build a working app right there at the hackathon. And then what happens is each of the hackers, they build teams together. So typically they'll get there. Sometimes they come as teams. Other hackers just show up and they will form a team right there at the hackathon. And then their goal is to come up with a working prototype, right? That they will then present to the judges during a 3-minute presentation. And the winner will win I think it's £5,000 in London. It's typically $5,000. So.
They even
That's my dog.
already there.
That's my dog.
Hello, puppy.
He's on my chair.
So they even have accounts that will join into the teams quite often also, right? I mean, not everybody is a developer necessarily.
Hey, Andrew.
Andrew.
And it's definitely what Liz and I will be doing at the hackathon is we'll be kind of consulting with the hack teams and trying to, get our energy up and helping out in any way that we can as accounting professionals. So we're just going to kind of float around and help the hackers as much as we can.
Well, and what's fantastic is, the scenarios are how well do you adapt? So when you're thrown some situations, how well can you respond to it? And that's the part that's going to be super fun to watch. I'm jazzed about watching them struggle. It's going to be a little painful, and I think it's going to be neat to watch them adjust and work it out. And
this is my first. I have no idea what to. Yeah, this is the sleep deprived part.
Yes, I understand the sleep deprived part.
So I'll share my screen because I just pulled up the hackathon screen. So
Ernest, you gonna jump into that, buddy?
Looking very dapper there, Mr. Wall. Where's your fedora?
I know.
So
looking for the hat.
So
my green brother.
This is
here's the challenge.
Here's the challenge. So this is the website, so you can learn more about it. There's going to be one in Australia too. So if anybody's listening and they wanna participate in Australia, they could do that as well. But the challenge is to create a brand new solution in that time period. So you're going to show up, you're going to form a team, and then you're going to build an app right then and there. And,
very cool.
There's going to be APIs, plus there'll be tools at the hackathon from third-party vendors. And it looks like the first 25 people that get in the door on the 23rd are going to get a rocket book.
Does that include us? Let's camp out.
I don't know.
Say that again. The first 25 get what?
A rocket book.
Those little notes that read your handwriting, and you microwave them to erase them. They're funky.
I had a rocket book.
Is that how you clear them?
Yeah, you put them in the microwave and it clears them. The thing's never going to be able to read my writing. I don't know how to write anymore. I type everything in my life. So
I want a rocket book.
I have one.
They look cool. I take a free one.
Yeah, all you have to do is be one of the first 25 people there.
Well, if that applies to us, it may not apply to us.
I think you might have to be in the contest.
Well, I signed up. Didn't you guys sign up?
We're signed up. I'm
good for you, Andrew.
I signed both Liz and I up.
So we're eligible. Let's camp out and get a rocket book.
I'm going to see you all standing with your rocket books.
Right.
We'll do shots or something.
Drink a glass of tequila.
Yeah, like a Toronto tradition. Steam whistle version of tequila shot. Full glass.
So,
oh man.
One of the fun things to do when they're having these things is, as a developer, you go over to GitHub, take a look, and you can always kind of see what people are working on because so many people will like iterate their different versions on GitHub. And I've always looked into that to see what's the point or what's the topics people are working on. It's pretty neat.
Well, the hack can really kickstart an app to become a viable business, viable business owner. For example, one of the $1,000 App Showdown finalists they developed their app at the hackathon in London last year. So
that's right. I remember a conversation like that.
Right. That was
Flowless.
Flowless, yes.
Yep.
So they won last year, and then they were in the $100,000 showdown like 9 months later.
Wow.
So,
Very cool.
I have a question for everyone here because I believe actually one of the rules of the hack is that you're not supposed to bring pre-existing code.
That's right.
You're supposed to be developing there over the weekend.
Right.
Now, I think that this is an interesting point. Is I actually think if the goal and the objective is to help people bring an app to market, should we be encouraging and allowing people to bring pre-existing code? Because I actually think, you know what, maybe we shouldn't discourage that. Maybe we should encourage iterative building and encourage people to come multiple years, multiple hacks, and build upon what they were able to develop in the past, as opposed to, cool. It's got to be a fresh build from this weekend. What do you guys think about that?
Let's spy, Andrew. We'll go in and chastise people that are going against that grain. How's that? Yeah. That's how we'll encourage them.
Well, I think that one of the things that's great about that program, though, is it brings in new developers to the ecosphere.
Yes. So, ecosphere. Hashtag ecosphere. I like that.
Maybe if they had two classifications, right? Brand new apps versus iterative.
Yes. Because you're right. You don't want to discourage people from coming because they feel like, oh, it's going to be a bunch of people who have code already.
Right.
So there's no point in going because I don't have anything. But maybe there is just two classes. And when you get there, we can be judged on whether it's an iterative app or a brand new app, and you can have prizes for iterative and brand new. Maybe that's a way to solve that problem.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, the curve for understanding the API, right? So if you already walk in and you already understand the API at a very deep level, you're already at a big advantage over anybody else. No matter what.
You should be. Doing that kind of homework is great. You want to see people that's how you're going to get Intuit's attention, and you're going to get the community's attention, that you pay that attention to detail. You understand what it is you're working with.
Hey,
yeah, that'd be great.
Andrew, what about the idea of maybe if you wanted to do that, you had to make that code open source to everybody else in the competition?
I'm not 100% sold on that because I guess ultimately what we're trying to do is encourage these guys to build an app that they'll bring to market, right? So they're going to want to keep it as their product. So I don't think it needs to be necessarily open, but I do think that you have to have this. You would have to have a fork that says iterative brand new, because otherwise you might scare people off. But I think if you had an iterative versus a built from scratch over the weekend, what we'd end up with is a different caliber of apps being presented at the end of the hackathon, because ultimately a lot of what we end up seeing is, at the end is a lot of sort of smoke and mirrors. App magic, as they say, or demo magic, where basically things are made to look like they do one thing, but it may not actually even have the full functionality behind it. And sometimes it's just complete and utter vaporware where it's just made to look like it can do something and it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that
I've written PowerPoint where before.
Pardon me?
Look at my PowerPoint can do.
Yes. Well, yeah. If you're great at writing PowerPoint and making slide decks, that gives you a big leg up, because a big part of this is
presentation.
It's presentation. It's being able to sell what you did. And having been a judge in the past, I'd say what stands out to me when I've judged, and I guess every judge is different, is I look at it and go, well, what's the issue you're trying to solve? Is it a real world issue that a lot of people are facing? And is there a realistic chance that this could be solved with technology? Whether or not you've actually been able to completely solve it in the hack itself is less of a concern to me. It's, can it be solved, and are you on the right path? And if you are, then ultimately this is something that I think we should support. And that's been my sort of judging criteria in the past. But I guess everyone judges things differently. And I can also tell you from my perspective, it's sometimes hard to know and understand when it's vaporware and when it's not real. And one of the other things I'd love to see is more interaction between the judges and the app partners that are there, the API partners that are there. Because I had some great conversations with the guys from Nexmo after the hack about them saying, okay, yeah, this one, it couldn't have possibly done it. And then I talked to the guys and they're like, yeah, that was kind of vaporware. And so I wouldn't have actually known that without knowing the intricacies of the API. So I would really love to see the API partners being part of that judging panel and filling in the judges on the pieces that they may not be fully aware of.
So Andrew, quick question about hackathon in general. Is the idea that they're trying to develop a tool for QuickBooks?
So each hackathon has its own rules. The rules of this one is that you're trying to build a tool. You're trying to solve something using technology that saves small business owners time and money.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be brand specific.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily have to help QuickBooks. It doesn't even necessarily have to use the QuickBooks API. It just has to help small business owners save time and money. Now, ultimately, what happens at these hacks is there's several APIs. QuickBooks being the #1 sponsor is probably the most obvious one to integrate with. But in every one, there's multiple API partners. Like we've seen Nexmo's been there a couple times that I've been there. I've seen Google Assistant there as one. I think Method was here in Toronto, if I recall correctly. So there's always different API partners involved. And again, sometimes we look at how many, at least I looked at in the past with judging, is how many APIs did you integrate? Now, sometimes people make a mistake of trying to integrate with every API. Ultimately not, and it doesn't solve the problem. Like, does it help? Don't just integrate with the API to make the judge happy. Integrate with the API to come up with a better solution. So that would be my tips for anyone who's going to do the hack.
So the conference, hackathon is going to be awesome. What about the conference? Who are you guys looking forward to seeing? Honestly, I haven't looked at Sarah's list yet, but Sarah, who is that guy that you think is amazing? The rock star dude, the physicist. Outside of him, there's a British physicist, and he's really
Brian Cox.
Yes, he sold out in Ontario apparently, and Sarah wanted tickets and couldn't get them. So this is she's got a total this is her one of her idols, and he looks cool. I watched some of his talks. So I heard physicist, and I went, "Oh my god, a British physicist! How exciting!" But he looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else that anyone actually knows? That's where it's a bit different. We normally know, 60 to 70% of the people on the main stage, and then we always know a good chunk of the breakouts. Right. Anyone in particular you guys want to see over there?
Well, I'm a bit excited. Sorry, go ahead.
I want to listen to Warren Cass. He's really good.
Yeah, I had some communication with Warren yesterday. He's a friend of Carl Reeder's. And I was already connected with him a few weeks ago. I just didn't realize it. He seems like a great guy. I love the influence concept.
Yep.
That's what he's speaking
to. James Ashford, I want to hear him.
What's James's thing?
He works with leading firms of accountants around the world, helping them become more profitable.
Ooh.
Who doesn't want to be more profitable, right? I'm kind of looking forward to hearing Paul Shrimpers.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
And he's going to be talking about MTD, making tax digital, which I know not happening here in Canada, not happening in the US now. Exactly. But who's to say that this couldn't be coming down the road in the future? And so I'm kind of excited to learn more about what making tax digital is all about. And has anyone looked up at making tax digital at all yet?
They have the whole day devoted to it on Monday. Now, the whole day is a misnomer. This is actually a one-day conference when it comes down to it. Yeah. On the Monday, the registration's not till it's 2 or 3 local time. And then there's a 2-hour seminar on MTD, and that's all it said. And I thought, what the heck is a month to date? Like, is this going to be a State of the Union type thing? And so I read up on it. Personally, I'm never going to touch tax with a 10-foot pole ever in my professional career, but
it's good
an interesting concept. I want to hear what they have to say, because there is relevance to our markets over here in North America. I think Canada especially, I think that the States, with your complicated tax system, it might get a little more difficult to do, but it's an interesting concept. They're just trying to, from what I understand, Andrew, and it's been coming for a while, is that I think that the over there they call it inland revenue. They'll do all the work will be done through their systems. There'll be no TurboTax in that world.
Why did we create such a complicated system in the United States?
Yeah, it's too complicated.
It won't be coming here anytime soon.
Too codified.
It would come to Canada first.
It can work in Canada.
Well, keep in mind, making tax digital, like they're starting with VAT, which is value added tax, which is sort of equivalent to our HST.
Or GST overall.
Yeah, or GST, yeah. And so basically my understanding, and this is a really early, very little knowledge on what it is, but my understanding is basically there's got to be a digital trail from the individual transaction all the way through to tax.
Yep.
So basically this is going to apply for anyone doing bookkeeping, business coaching, because it's about how are we teaching these guys to keep track of their finances and in what tools are we using, which is, this is a huge win for companies like Xero and QBO, obviously digital platforms that basically you have to do it in. This could potentially be the death of spreadsheets as a way of doing accounting and bookkeeping. Now, my understanding is that they are going to allow spreadsheets as long as you use a special middleware that basically is able to prove that the tax comes from that spreadsheet. But from what I've listened to and heard, there's some contention about whether that will continue to exist down the road. And if you have to use this middleware to connect your spreadsheet to the tax software, why don't you just do it in a software that does it properly from day one? So maybe it's going to be the death of spreadsheets in the UK as far as a way of preparing your books. And that would be interesting, because my clients, 80% of my clients still use spreadsheets for preparing books.
80%.
It's a staggering number. Keep in mind, we specialize in very small businesses.
Yes.
Average income for my client is $130,000 a year. So what, I've been on some panels with people from PwC and big firms who this is below what they even consider small business. To them, this is micro or nano business. So it's, a lot of these small guys are still doing things out of bank books, out of spreadsheets, out of really traditional ways. And some of them will never change off of that unless they're regulated to, because it's what they're used to. It's all they know. And they want it, they're comfortable with their process, even though their process might be time consuming and crap. It's what they know. It's what they've been doing for a long time. And so I have one client who still brings me a physical ledger book.
Handwritten.
Now he's in his late 70s. So, how much are we going to push a guy like this to change, right?
Any winters in Florida?
Yeah, well, yes.
Andrew, is that Jeff Borshoa mentioned that guy? Is that the same one? Because he did some work with you guys. I think he mentioned him.
He did some work, yeah. And
use him in some marketing.
Yes, he's a great guy, though.
No, but use him creatively, kind of show where you can be. Just show the alternative. Have some fun with it.
Yeah,
be awesome.
It might be an interesting use case, but I can tell you now, there is no way he is changing what he's doing. Definitively. He's also
non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable, sort of a bit of a stubborn man. Great guy. And we've worked with him, his children, and now his grandchildren. So we've been through 3 generations of their family as clients, which is so he's a perfect example of sometimes working with old clients using crappy systems is still a worthwhile experience. He's a great guy to work with. I have a fabulous time, and we have to ultimately take his ledger and put it into a digital system. But for him, it's worth it.
Can you scan it and put it in Receipt Bank?
We do scan it, and it's interesting because
Nice.
we used to have, we just got this new scanner this year from Fujitsu.
I saw you did an unboxing on that. That thing's funky.
It's awesome because in the past we used to have to try and go we would go to our photocopier and try and photocopy his books, and then get them
possible.
And then scan them into our scanner because we couldn't, we weren't about to cut up his book. And so this year we now have a scanner that actually is meant for scanning books. So we just open it, scan a page, open the next page. So it's amazing. It's a very cool.
So you could digitize that whole process.
Yeah. Now I didn't try putting it into Receipt Bank, but I wonder what would happen if I did. I'm going to test it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do it. That is so cool.
But that's one of your legacy clients. So if somebody new called and said, "Hey, I've got this ledger book. Hey,
goodbye."
Absolutely not.
Not. I just say, I mean, that's, you've got this relationship 3 generations deep, but
that's a great story. That's a great story, man. I love that.
But no, I would not allow someone to walk in the door today and be like, "Here's my ledger book," and I'd be like, "Oh, here's your ledger book. There's the door."
The making text digital is really mandated. So this is a requirement for small businesses, for businesses in the UK. And so this is kind of a big deal because, for the registered businesses that meet a certain threshold, they have to be using a making touch digital system by April 1st.
Yeah. But
and I think it's great that Intuit is offering this one-day event to help these small
education
and accountants get up to speed to know exactly what they need to do.
I made a PDF for the Monday as well with the other bios. I don't know if you saw that one, but it talks about what
that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be interesting. It'll be the first tax seminar I've gone to in decades, and I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Just from the theoretical point of view, and just to learn what it's all about, to kind of share it in our community back here, because I know a ton of tax people. I mean, tax people are worth their weight in gold, and they're going to be interested in what's going on over there for sure. So it's a good conversation starter.
What I'd like to know is, I'm actually working right now with a client in the UK, a potential client. Hopefully there'll be a client pretty soon. And so that was one of the concerns as I started to work with clients that were in other countries is I don't know their tax law. I don't even know their common laws, right? So is that a barrier? And what do we need to know as accounting professionals that are now doing business with clients outside our native country, right? So that's something that's a big concern. I reached out to my attorney and said, okay, what do I need to know to work with these? Do I need to be concerned with my standard NDA that I use? Does it need to be worded differently when I'm working with someone in another country?
Or even firm insurance.
Better, right? My insurance.
Insurance, big time. Yes. Your exposure is huge.
As we start to expand beyond the borders of our own countries, we really need to be thinking about this. And, especially as smaller practitioners, I mean, the larger firms are deeply seated in these other countries, but for the smaller practices, that are starting to do this, we need to really make sure that we understand and are qualified. I had looked to refer, maybe partner with somebody on this particular project, and they're like, no, I don't know what I don't know. I'm not getting in. So, it's really understanding how do you feel about that? And are you willing to make the investment to learn in order to move into that market?
Well, and one of the things that we've had recently is not so much businesses that are located outside of the US, but maybe their home branch is here in Oklahoma, but they actually manufacture outside of the US. So we've had that this last year, and it's been an interesting conversation. And even the Bitcoin was part of the conversation. What do we do about that? And talking about, that got really tricky quickly. And so needing to bring in some tax law experts.
And I think that's what's great about our community and having our community expand outside our countries is that we do have those relationships and we can draw on the expertise of our colleagues that are in these other areas that we want to expand into. So I reached out to I reached out to a colleague that I knew in Canada for some questions when I had a client that was dealing with, looking to expand into Canada, and we needed to understand, the sales tax and other tax implications. And so having those contacts have been absolutely super valuable to me in my practice.
All goes back to connecting, right?
Yeah,
it does. It does. And our clients are more than just local now.
Right.
They're reaching out into the not only just, their country, but reaching out global.
Absolutely.
And selling global, and Amazon's letting you do that. And so they're quickly being tapped into it.
Now, Andrew, for our Canadian friends, do you guys have a U.S. QuickBooks Online accountant account that you use?
I have one, and for 2 clients. One of them I never used it, and then recently I was signing up a client in Ontario. They have a U.S. operation in Chicago, and they asked me about licensing and this, that, and the other thing. So I had to go dust off my copy of U.S. QBOA and look around and see about pricing and things. And then I came back to them and said, if you guys want me to, I'll do it as a special favor, because I really like doing everything in one platform. That's one thing I love about QBOA, is it allows you to just have everything in one place.
Yep.
I'll have 2 browser tabs open instead of 1. It's not the end of the world, but we haven't really gone far with it yet, but I do have one.
How about the U.S., our U.S. friends, Linda, Ernest, Liz, do you guys have an international account? Do you have?
I looked at it while we were in Canada, but I never actually went ahead and set one up. I just was able to hop on the browser and look at it there.
Yeah.
Andrew, you'll probably remember this conversation from 2015. It was our first QuickBooks Connect, and we were at Mountain View before the conference or after. I can't remember how they timed it that year. And do you remember they went around country by country? I think we had Chris Fudge up there for the Canadian team, and each country had their little spiel.
Yep.
And do you remember the Brits got up there? Do you remember their attitude towards the rest of us? It was hilarious. They laughed at Canadians and Americans for being too meek, because they had all this cool inventory functionality that no one else did. And they said, we're British. We want what we want. And if you don't give it to us, we're going to make noise. So I'd be really curious to know what their version of QBOA is like, and their software, because they made no bones about it. They said, we get shit done. Sorry, we get stuff done. And I've seen it. A lot of the enhancements we get in QBOA and QBO in general actually originate in England. I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but do you remember that conversation, Andrew? It was actually pretty funny.
I vaguely remember. That was the one where I think Jeff Cates got up and opened up his Superman style.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I do remember that. And I'd be really curious to see what the difference is, because I know that one of the big pushes by Intuit is to make it more of a global product now. But there is definitely still things. I know, obviously, from the Canadian side, that we've got the Edmonton team doing development projects that end up going global, but then are also specific to Canada, like payroll and stuff like that, and obviously tax. Things are going to be specific to Canada. So it'd be really interesting to talk with their tech team and their development team to understand what things that they're pushing and what things that they think are really critical to the product, and what, if anything, what dev is being done in London. Because I know that in my conversations with Annie Terry about the hackathon, she was raving about the tech talent in London and the quality of the devs. So I wonder if that then correlates to the quality of the tech team within Intuit in London as well. So it'd be really interesting to talk with the Intuit London team, find out if they're doing development there, if they're working on any international projects as well, and hear from them what they're driving forward globally out of London. That would be really interesting to hear.
Well, speaking of London, and I can't wait to do this with you guys, is visiting Receipt Bank. I mean, that's their mothership. This is where it all began, is London, England. So it's going to be pretty cool. And their product people are amazing. I spoke with a few in San Jose. They brought in a few from London. They're visionary and they're really cool to talk to. So Andrew, I think you're going to have a heyday there.
Do we have a time yet? I'm paranoid that I'm going to miss it because I'm flying out.
I have already told I've told them that you do have to fly out. It sounds like it's going to be a morning thing, and then they're gonna they'd like to go out and maybe do lunch or something. They've got something planned for us, and then you probably jump in a cab and go to the airport from there.
Yeah.
We'll time it. We'll work it around you, buddy.
Yeah, and I think I had actually David Leary, who works at Auto Entry. He reached out. They have their headquarters in London as well.
England as well, yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah, it's near Receipt Bank. They're all in the same neck of the woods. That's what Auto Entry told me, anyways.
Yeah.
So guys, we're at the top of the hour, and I do have to jump off because I have some.
I hear you.
Got to work on, but this has been super fun. Thank you so much for joining in our chat today. Liz, as usual, I'm sure I'll talk to you 100 times today. Before
I know. Okay, so I
wait
have
to
to
hang
share
out with
what
you guys.
happened. Well, I was quiet for a little bit because I had to go figure out. We had an earthquake while we've been talking.
Oh no.
I'm here in Oklahoma.
Let's back up the tape. Did we see it? Is there anything moving in the background?
Well, I mean, the house. You know, I'm in my upstairs office, and so the house did shake. So I had to go look it up, and right now it's not posted yet. But Oklahoma is becoming more and more of an earthquake
Oh my goodness.
central. Yeah.
You sure it wasn't just everyone cheering for you, Liz?
If only. We have a
Wow.
lot of fracking here in Oklahoma, so it's
I was gonna say that, but I
earthquakes.
didn't want to get. That's a controversial topic, fracking. I'm from an oil town as well, Liz. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is
That's exactly what it was.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be awesome hanging out with you
Can't
guys. I
wait.
was when Andrew and I first found out that we were gonna be coming to England, I was just thrilled just for that. And when I heard you guys were coming too, I thought this is gonna be a blast. And
Yeah.
we're pretty much following the same schedule, so we're gonna be able to do some fun stuff. And I think between the four of us, the rest of our community are gonna have some fun with us.
Yeah.
I agree. And we've even like planned in a couple of fun things. So I'll probably send you some of the links to some of the stuff we're doing because Misty might even be joining us.
Oh, wicked! That would be great.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't wait to
awesome.
sample some of your Appy Hour cocktails that you guys are coming up with. I think I got to launch my own, like the CPA 4IT Caesar.
Out of Caesar.
Can you even get
Yeah,
Clamato
of
juice
course.
over there?
The
We
Canadian
have one of these
Caesar.
guys. We have one of these for you guys.
Oh, sweet. Is that like that means you're buying drinks everywhere we go? Is that what that is? Like a hospitality card?
You just try it. Yeah, just see what
Okay.
happens.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I like the sound of this.
I'm looking forward to hanging
Awesome.
with you ladies. And again,
same
thank you
here.
guys for hosting today.
Yes, this
And
was
I
excellent.
apologize again for being fashionably
Yeah, you
late.
made it, dude.
Hey, no worries. All right.
You're supposed to
I'll
say,
see
Brad,
y'all
why didn't you wake me up? Isn't that like a legendary thing? I've heard that
All right.
once or
We'll see
twice.
you. We'll see you in a week on the other side.
All right. Sounds great.
soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.